Number 10. Is this baby for sale? A mother was minding her own business at a Walmart self-checkout register in Crockett, Texas in early 2022 when a middle-aged woman approached her and began gushing over her son's blonde hair and blue eyes. She allegedly asked how much she could purchase the little boy for, which the mom initially laughed off as a joke, only for the woman to follow up with a serious offer. A probable cause affidavit obtained by NBC News accused 49-year-old Rebecca Taylor of telling the victim that she had $250,000 cash in her vehicle and that she was willing to hand it over in exchange for the child. Of course, the mom said no amount of money would do. She later told police that she asked Taylor to get away from her and her son, but that Taylor persisted with an explanation that she'd been trying to buy a child for a long time. A woman who was with the suspect asked what the boy's name was, and of course, the mother refused to tell them. However, they somehow managed to figure it out, according to the affidavit, which went on to state that the woman kept trying to call the boy over. The mother waited for the two women to leave the store, but encountered them again in the parking lot. She locked her children in the car while Taylor allegedly began screaming at her, offering $500,000 for the kid and standing behind the woman's vehicle. When it became clear that the situation wasn't going to de-escalate, the mom drove off and went to the police, who reviewed surveillance footage and concluded that it corroborated the story she gave them. Taylor reportedly slammed the door on law enforcement when they showed up at her house to question her, but there was nothing she could do to stop them from taking her into custody once a warrant was issued. She was charged with one felony count of participating in the sale or purchase of a child and bonded out for $50,000 as the case proceeded through the court system. Number 9. Creepy Cookie Monster and Evil Elmo. In early 2023, police in California received complaints from concerned families about a suspect in a Cookie Monster costume harassing innocent civilians near the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. It was just one of the numerous sightings that had flooded in over a several-week period. Responding officers identified the suspect as 59-year-old Adam Sandler, no relation to the actor, who reportedly makes a living by seeking out children who want their photo taken with the character and hustling their parents for tips. People found him creepy, according to a Santa Cruz police spokesperson, who advised the public not to engage with the man and to steer clear of him. Beachgoer Nick Padron told local station KRON4 that he encountered the costume-clad character, who he described as someone who seemed down on his luck. However, Padron said that the man didn't seem to be bothering anyone. But Sandler had a checkered history, according to past police and media reports, including a jail stint in New York for threatening to extort the Girl Scouts of America. Around 2015, he made headlines in San Francisco for dressing up in an Elmo costume and allegedly yelling at tourists who didn't tip him for taking photos with them. He was also rumored to be entangled in conflicts with local small business owners and was eventually banned from two popular tourist areas. During that time, Sandler told KRON4 that he was the victim of an unfair harassment campaign, and he insisted he had no psychological problems whatsoever. However, he also had a reputation for being a troublemaker in Los Angeles, where he allegedly threatened a business owner while dressed in his Cookie Monster costume. After the incidents in Santa Cruz began, authorities acknowledged that it's not a crime to be creepy in public, but cautioned people to immediately report concerns about Sandler's behavior to the police. A Santa Cruz Wharf spokesperson made it clear that he wasn't employed by, contracted by, or permitted by the city or any local business. In other words, while nobody could do anything to stop Sandler from hustling in the area, he didn't exactly receive a warm welcome. Number 8. The Woman in the Closet. When a 57-year-old man living in the quiet town of Kazuya in western Japan noticed food missing from his refrigerator on numerous occasions in 2008, he suspected he was the victim of repeated home break-ins. So in response, he installed security cameras. It wasn't long before he received a mobile alert that one of the cameras had detected activity within the home. The man called the police and reported a suspected burglary, but officers arrived to find his doors locked, his windows closed, and no signs of a break-in. However, they searched the interior of the home and found a woman hiding on the top shelf of the man's closet. The suspect, later identified as 58-year-old Tatsuko Horikawa, allegedly told the police that she was homeless and had snuck into the residence about a year earlier after discovering that the homeowner had left it unlocked. She put a mattress in the tiny closet space, where she managed to go unnoticed until the man realized food was disappearing. Horikawa took showers regularly when he wasn't home and was described by responding officers as neat and clean. But her days of secretly living in someone else's house were over, and she was arrested for trespassing. Unfortunately, it's unclear exactly what punishment she faced. Number 7. Intruder in the crawl space. Timothy Smith and his fiancée hadn't even finished moving into the house they purchased together in Gresham, Oregon, when they became the victims of a truly bizarre home invasion that left them feeling both perplexed and disturbed. The couple came home one day in 2019 to find that someone had eaten a cupcake, made coffee, drank some beer, played video games, and put some clothes in the washing machine. They discovered more things that were out of place as they inspected the rest of the house, as well as large holes in the walls of 2 different rooms. Smith found that the hatch to a crawl space had been left open and crawled inside, armed with a knife, while yelling for the intruder to announce themselves. Eventually, he encountered a man wearing his fiancée's Christmas-themed onesie, accompanied by a cat named Spaghetti. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Ryan Bishop, was taken into custody on suspicion of burglary, criminal mischief, and theft. Spaghetti was a bit more difficult to coax out of hiding, but Smith eventually managed to capture the cat, who didn't belong to him. Later, though, the feline's owner was tracked down. After police searched the house, Smith found a stash of methamphetamine and other drug paraphernalia that law enforcement had missed. Smith told local station KOIN6 that the intrusion left him and his fiancée traumatized and uncomfortable in their own home. The first-time homeowners were excited to no longer be renting and to start a new chapter in their lives, only to have someone ruin it before they had even finished settling in. Number 6. Creep caught on camera. Residents in Lauderhill, Florida were terror-stricken in late 2022 when surveillance cameras captured a well-dressed man knocking on the doors of several homes with a machete in his hand. Footage shared by local station WSVN showed the mysterious visitor, clad in dress pants, a button-down shirt, and a tie, calmly approaching a home at 5:30 a.m. before tapping on the door several times with the large knife's handle. Then, he immediately turned around and walked away. It was the exact same scenario that several other community members reported seeing on their own home security cameras. Nobody knew who the man was or what he could have possibly wanted. One resident pointed out how the man didn't seem lost or confused, and that his actions seemed to be intentional. The unsettling sightings left locals understandably concerned about their safety, although law enforcement said that they didn't identify any crimes being committed based on the video evidence. Police classified the incidents as suspicious acts and stepped up their patrols in the area. They asked anyone with information to come forward, but it's unclear whether the man was ever identified or if the bizarre visits have stopped. Number 5. Burglar makes himself at home. A homeowner in Oklahoma City was surprised to find her front door ajar when she arrived home one day in 2013. However, the situation became downright terrifying when a man answered the door wearing slippers and politely invited her inside. She dialed 911, but when the officers arrived at the scene, the suspect's welcoming demeanor strangely continued. The man had a pizza cooking in the oven and was subsequently joined by his 2 daughters. It was as if he truly believed he was in his own home, according to Sergeant Gary Knight, who spoke with local station KFOR. The suspect, later identified as 35-year-old Montego Logan, allegedly told law enforcement that he lived at the house, but became violent when they asked for some sort of proof. They then took him into custody on suspicion of burglary and assaulting police. According to an arrest report, Logan's behavior changed noticeably during the ride to the police station when he mistook one of the officers, who was 5 years younger than him, for his grandmother. He reportedly went from being calm and sleepy to hallucinating and delusional, leading the police to suspect that he was under some kind of intoxicant or possibly experiencing a mental episode of some kind. Luckily, though, nobody was hurt during the incident. Number 4. Cyclist attacked by naked man. A woman was riding her bike near Miami Springs, Florida one morning in 2022 when a naked man wearing only a cowboy hat approached and asked her if she had a crack pipe. When she said no, the man slashed her with a machete, landing her in intensive care with extensive injuries, including a fractured skull, a brain bleed, a broken arm, and a large cut on her hand. Police tracked down the suspect, 45-year-old Roberto Hercules, in a wooded area in the nearby town of Hialeah, where they found him sleeping naked in a tent with 2 cowboy hats next to him. He was camping out among some trees near a set of railroad tracks, where he appeared to be hiding from the law. Hercules was consequently charged with multiple felonies including attempted murder, armed robbery, and battery. The incident happened in an unincorporated area between Miami Springs and Medley, which Miami Springs is in the process of trying to annex. If the city succeeds, it will step up its police patrol in the area. Number 3. Demonic Mugshot. One night in 2017, a man knocked on the door of a Lancaster County, South Carolina home and asked the resident to call the police. When deputies arrived, he explained that he was invited over next door to the home of 24-year-old Morgan Varn. While he was there, Varn and another suspect, 23-year-old Jonathan McHale Robinson, allegedly robbed him at gunpoint, taking his cash and smashing his cell phone before letting him leave. 2 male visitors at Varn's residence complied with the deputy's orders to come outside, but Varn, Robinson, and a female visitor refused to exit the building. An hours-long standoff ensued as hostage negotiators unsuccessfully tried to make contact with the people inside. Neighbors were moved to safety and a SWAT team made entry, and luckily, they managed to apprehend the suspects without anyone getting hurt. Varn and Robinson were charged with armed robbery, kidnapping, and malicious injury to personal property, and Robinson faced additional gun charges. However, it wasn't the nature of the alleged crimes that drew widespread attention. It was Varn's mugshot, which garnered spooked reactions from social media users who described the woman's appearance as demonic and evil. The whites of her eyes were tattooed black, her face contained several tattoos, and she wore dark lipstick. And while the look wasn't most people's cup of tea, a few commenters said they thought the young blonde looked beautiful. Number 2. Creepy Clown. Halloween was more than a month away when a string of bizarre clown sightings terrified entire towns across the US in 2016. One incident happened in Middlesboro, Kentucky, where police responded to a call about a masked man in a clown costume crouching suspiciously in a wooded area near an apartment complex. At the scene, officers found 20-year-old Jonathan Martin in full clown costume. He allegedly admitted that he was trying to scare people. Because it's illegal in that part of the state for people to conceal their identity by wearing a mask in public, Martin was charged with the offense along with 1 count of disorderly conduct. In a statement following the incident, police in nearby Bourbonville, Kentucky, reminded the public that it's not against the law in and of itself to dress up, but that doing so in a way that creates an unnecessary sense of alarm in public is illegal. The agency even warned civilians against driving around dressed as a clown. It remains unclear to this day what sparked the strange clown costume trend in America, but many of these cases were undoubtedly the handiwork of copycats who thought it would be funny to strike fear into the hearts of their communities. Number 1. Machete-wielding Maniac. Terrifying footage that went viral in late 2022 showed the moment a machete-wielding maniac tried to carjack a woman and her husband in Queensland, Australia. TikToker Ash Massacre spotted the clean-cut but seemingly crazed young man swinging the machete while walking through traffic. Much to her horror, he headed over to the car she and her husband were riding in. In the video, the suspect could be seen grinning while tapping on the car's back window. He politely demanded to be let inside the vehicle while raising the blade. At the time, the car was stuck in traffic, so speeding off wasn't an option. After failing to gain access to the vehicle, the man walked away. Shortly after the incident made headlines, police confirmed that they charged a 21-year-old suspect with threatening violence, unlawful entry of motor vehicles, and obstructing police. But the name of the machete-wielding psycho hasn't been released. Would you rather return from vacation to find a complete stranger living in your home, or be repeatedly targeted by a stranger who peers in through your windows but never tries to break in? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!